So Tri-County uses Microsoft Outlook. You want to make sure that you've got that on your phone if you have a smartphone. And once you get it on your phone, sign into your student email account, because whenever I send out an announcement, it will send you an email 30 minutes after the announcement's posted. Or if I have to send you a Moodle message, it'll send you an email copy of it. Moodle messaging is my primary form of communication because it's usually pretty quick and it sends you an email anyway, so you don't even bother to send an email. But if it's something that everybody needs to know, like we are in January, so if we were to happen to get any ice, or I saw on my phone a while ago we're under a flash flood warning. So if that happens, I'll send it out through an announcement and it'll send it to your phone. Yeah.
So I just now broke into my regular curriculum student email account. Will that mess up what I have for Moodle?
No, it shouldn't, as long as that's on your, because your Moodle is tied to your student email, so you should be good. All right, so let's go to the class info real quick, and then we'll look at the syllabus to fill in any holes. So this one is a 16-week long course. So just kind of hitting the high notes here. Due dates and late grades, whenever there's a set of labs due, they'll appear on the left side of your screen. Now right now, everything's showing up on mine because I've got it in instructor view, and I kind of keep it that way to help it plan. But the only one that should be showing up for you guys right now, I think, is this one here, is Conversions Lab 1. Now the late start folks, whenever they watch this video, they're probably going to have like 2 or 3 things up. And then the Fast Track 2 that starts like in March or whatever, or late February, they're going to be having like 2 or 3 things due every week. Whereas with us, it'll be a little bit slower paced. So most of the time, whenever something's open, it's open for 8 days. Because I've got Monday, Wednesday sections, and I've got Tuesday, Thursday sections. So I try to make things due on Tuesday nights. So they'll usually open on Mondays, and then they'll close on Tuesday nights. Now, any lab that is not completed by the due date will be counted late, and you can turn it in at any time during the following week for a 20-point deduction. I am going to change up how I do late grades this semester, but I haven't put that in here yet, so I'll update that later. What I'll probably do for late grades is just have it be a hard copy instead of just opening the quiz back up. So once it's over a week late, what I usually do, it says it can't be redone until the end of the semester, but that was copied and pasted from 110. I need to fix that. I have 2 parts every semester, 2 weeks every semester when you can do redos and makeup grades. It's usually at the middle of the semester and a week before the end. This is just so I'm not just constantly opening things back up. If it's a late lab, used to what I would do was I would do an override, but I think what I'm going to do this semester is I'm just going to do paper copies instead. So I'll get all that stuff updated. Okay, Moodle Messenger, like I said, that's my primary form of communication. I know some instructors do, like they give out their phone number or they do Facebook or whatever. That's fine for them. I don't do that. I get enough Moodle messages as it is without anything else lighting my phone up. And if you need to get a hold of me, here are the hours to do so. So during the fall and spring semesters, 8 to 8, and then summer semester, 10 to 10. Code of conduct. Remember, Moodle keeps a record of everything that is shared between 2 parties. Even if you try to go in there and delete a message, it'll archive it. So just make sure that, before you send a Moodle message that you know that you're not the only one that's going to be seeing it, just like that person. And then corrections and redos, again, we mentioned, 2 weeks before it ends, you can redo the corrections. There's also an optional practice final that you can do. Wait, no, that is like, hold on. Yeah, I need to take that out. There's not a practice final. That came straight from 110. I need to take that out. 110 has a practice final, 143 does not. Yeah. Whenever you, yeah, I'll fix this. I'll fix all this stuff later. Yeah, whenever you copy something over, you know, or when you're, well, not everybody does it, which is really strange. So, attendance quiz within 2 days of the class start date, or you'll be dropped. Now we just make sure that you get your attendance quiz done by the date that's posted, because that is the census date for the course. That's when you have to have this completed by to stay in it. If you don't have it completed by then, we have to take you out. Yeah. So the attendance quiz, it's not for a grade, but you have to do it to stay in the course. And what it is, it's just a syllabus quiz. So we'll go through the syllabus in a little bit, just kind of hit the high notes, and that way you'll know what to expect on it. All right, so let's go ahead and go look at the syllabus. Please let this be the updated one. Yeah, there we go. All right. Okay. Yeah, so my office is in McSwain 130, which you actually passed it on the way down here. It's got all the Titan stuff on the outside of the door. Those are my office times during fall and spring. So if you need to hit me up for those, there's my phone extension, and so on. All right, let's make this a little bit bigger so it's easier to scroll. Okay, so the syllabus talks about what you have to have completed before you got here. Is you either had to test out of Math 003 Tiers 1 and 2, or have completed them, which in that, if you test out of them, you don't have to complete them. There is a co-requisite called Math 043. This is mostly just decided on like your RISE requirements, like they look at your GPA, what classes you've already had, you know, how old your current coursework is. They've got a whole list of things that they look at. If you sign up for that class, or you know, in some cases, like if you had to sign up for it, or if you signed up for it just to have it as a safety blanket, or if you needed it for financial aid, I know that they do that sometimes too. That is going to meet in 152, which is on the other hallway on the annex. Nope, that'll be in here too. Yeah. Yeah. All right, textbook. So I do have a digital copy of the textbook in Moodle, and I'll show you where that's at in a minute. But if you're going to get a hard copy of it, let me switch cameras just for a second. Not used to doing this on a laptop. Come on, mouse. Yeah. So if you're going to get a hard copy of it, it looks like this. It's a pretty old book, well, pretty old by book standards. I think it's like a 2014 edition or something. So I guess it's about 10 years old now. Last time I looked, it was only about $60. But since I've got it, the full digital copy in Moodle, you don't have to buy it. You can if you want to, but you don't have to.
Okay, at the bookstore?
No, the bookstore won't have it.
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't even know if you can get it online because it's so old. The supplemental book is called Everything You Need to Ace Math, One Big Fat Math Notebook. It's this little bitty notebook here. This is much cheaper. It's only like $10 or $15. I don't have a digital for this. They don't release it because it's a commercial book. But yeah, this is pretty handy. I know they had it at the Walmart in Blairsville. I actually got this at a Sam's Club. Yeah, when I got it, it was about 10, and then I think you could get it online for 15 or so. Yeah, yeah, and it's called that. It's called middle school because it's like organized, like you know, with graphic. Yeah. Well, the discount and markup stuff that we're going to cover is actually in the book here, so I've got it earmarked. So, yeah, really, really handy, really, really cheap. All right, and then scientific calculators. So. Let me do a screen share real quick. Yeah, let's just do it this way. All right. So yeah, The regular textbook is provided. We very seldom ever even use it anymore. We mostly use it at the beginning because there's some tables and stuff in there that we use for conversions. But other than that, we just kind of go off of stuff that I've already got in there. So the scientific calculator, you need to make sure that you have that. You're going to be using that quite a bit. It's this model. It's the TI-30X2S. It comes in a bunch of different colors. Yeah. Now, a graphing calculator, probably, I mean, it's still a calculator, but it's a little bit advanced for what we need. And I would try to avoid Casios. I don't know how to fix those if they mess up. But a TI I can work with because I've always worked with those. Casios are just kind of, I don't know, they're sort of hateful. Well, I have a box full. Yeah, I've got a box full of them over here too. So yeah, there's 10 in there, so that should help too. All right, so then the course description, the course objectives, you can read those on your own. It just basically explains how this class is primarily focused on taking math and applying it to real world situations, word problems, you know, that we've come up with, things of that sort. A little bit of, you know, if you need this number for that, then what do you need that number for, and, you know, things of that sort. There's our student learning outcomes. That, you know, they come from the state, so you can look at that as well. Okay, so I offer this class in 2 formats. There's 3 that I have offered before. I've not done this class as a hybrid course. I do my 110 class as a hybrid course. Hybrids, you know, they mostly just kind of meet once a week for 2 or 3 hours. But with this class, we found that, you know, twice a week works best, and online as well. Now, for an online course, there's no physical attendance. I keep attendance in an online course by, you know, students keeping up with their assignments. Did they miss a due date? Well, yeah, they missed a due date. Okay, so that'll count as them not participating, right? Whereas web-based, which is what this one is meets 2 days a week. There is a physical requirement, but all the assignments are online. So that's the way we do that. Traditional is just kind of, you know, web-based you have to be here in person in a seat. Online you don't. Yeah. But web-based has, like, both of these have their assignments online. It's just web-based, you're here, you can ask questions, you can get, you know, in-person instruction. And then, you know, like I was saying earlier, that's why I record my lessons for the online folks. It's not as good as being here in person, but, you know. Yeah. Yeah. So the class, if you look at the class, W, web-based. Yeah. Yeah. W means web-based. Yeah. All right. So let's go back to here. Okay. Assignments. So each assignment has a student copy that you can print out and work on before you turn it in, because the graded assignments are quiz-based and you only get one crack at them. So it's better if you work it out on, like, paper, like print it out and work it out, or just, even if you don't want to print it out, just do it on notebook paper, and then fill in your answer entry. Now, when you pull up the answer entry, like say if your student copy says, you know, here's question 1, here's question 2, here's question 3. When you pull up your answer entry, that's not the order they're going to be in. This is to kind of discourage people from going, oh, let me see your work. I'll just put it in the same, you know, put it in that order, and then, yeah, trying to keep people from cheating. Yep. Yeah. And, you know, it's also to try to encourage people to be very, very meticulous in what they do. You know, when I taught public school and we had the EOGs, there was this thing called misalignment, where they, you know, they probably had the answers right, but if they skipped number 3 and then kept on going, they've got to go all the way back and fix those. So, yeah, that's what we try to help with that too. Since the since the answer entry only has 1 attempt, you got to be very, very careful. I wouldn't even open it to put your answers in, because the questions will be the same on the paper, just in a different jumbled up order.
And this is multiple I've learned that middle can be a little bit
Yeah.
picky about the answer.
Yep.
How do you type it?
Well, there's nothing you have to type in. Most of them are going to be multiple choice. Yep. All right, let's talk about grading. This is the one that everybody wants to know. So we use a points-based system because with a points-based system, you get what you get. If you don't turn it in, you get a 0. If you turn it in, we grade it, and that's what you get. So that's why you're encouraged to do labs on a regular basis. The final grade in this course is determined by the percentage of accumulated points divided by the total points available. So like say if you get 1,300 points out of 2,000, divide that, that's your converted 100 average. Because we have to do that for the letter grade. So point values are listed on the assignments. Regular labs are 100 points. Regular tests are 150 points. The final is 200 points. So, the more important they are, the more that they count. Any assignment not submitted by the due date receives a grade of 0 until it's turned in either as a late grade for a -20 deduction or as a makeup or redo. So, if you're going to get, I've got an extra bullet in there. If you're trying to get an A, you got to get at least 1,800 points. Now, the way that we put our grades in here at Tri-County is we only put the letters in. So if somebody has a 90 on paper, that's the same as them getting a 95 or a 99. We use a 10-point scale. So, basically think of it am I in the A range? Am I in the B range? Am I in the C range? Because that way you don't have to really concern yourself with, I've got a 92, I need to get a 94. Don't worry about stuff like that. So if you're going to get an A, 1,800 total points. If you get at least 1,800 total points, you should be able to finish up with an A and be fine. B, 1,600 to 1,799. C, 1,400 to 1,599. D, 1,200 to 1,399. Now, in particular, be careful with a D. Yes, it is considered passing, but if you're trying to transfer somewhere else, that's not going to work. It's okay. It's passing in Tri-County's eyes, but if you're trying to transfer somewhere else, they're going to be like, no, we're not going to take it. You're going to have to get it again. So really, your best bet is to try to shoot for at least 1,400 points at minimum. Now, F is less than 1,200 total points. So like if you're, 1,201, you're a D. 1,200, it's a D. 1,199, F. So you got to make sure that you get as many as you can. And, really, if you think about it, it's really difficult to get an F. You would have to just do absolutely nothing all year, pretty much. Even if you just at least turn something in, you'll start accumulating credit. Now, if it's hog slop, you'll have to go back and fix it at some point anyway, but it's better than not turning it in at all. Because if you don't turn it in at all, you've already knocked it down from a possible A score to a C score. Attendance. So this is different depending on what method of delivery you're taking the class in. So if you don't complete the attendance quiz, you miss more than 2 class meetings in a hybrid or web-based format, consecutively miss 10% of your assignments, which for me is going to be 3, or cumulatively miss 20% of your assignments, which is 6, you'll be administratively withdrawn from the course and receive a grade of a U, which is basically an F. U just says, oh, the instructor gave it to them, instead of them earning it on their own. Now, if you, say we're 3 or 4 weeks in, and you're starting to find the classes a little bit too hard, or you don't have time, work got in the way, family situation came up, whichever, and you realize that you're about to get dropped because you've fallen behind, it's better if you drop yourself than if I do it. If I do it, what it says on the record is they signed up for the class and didn't do anything or missed too much and they got dropped. If you do it, it's like you're never even there. Yeah. Now, again, before you do that, if you're on financial aid, they have their own sets of rules and things that you got to double check on first. So, and then I've got late work in here like 3 or 4 times just to be safe. Cheating and plagiarism. So I just kind of go by what the university says. So first offense, you get a 0. Second offense, you're gone. That's company policy, as it were. Now this says that both the work entry portions, not every lab has a work entry. I think really only one of them has that. I used to have both parts on all my labs, but I took out most of the work entries this semester. I thought I got everything fixed in the syllabus, but you never can get it all the way upgraded. Again, that's something that really for only one lab this year, we're going to have that. Most of them are not going to have that. That's just where you upload a copy of your handwritten work. But yeah, I need to take that out. That's that was a boo-boo. Okay, redoing labs. We mentioned it a little bit earlier. A redo is done on a lab that was previously turned in, but the grade wasn't to your liking. You can redo labs at least twice during the year. During at the midterm, I don't have a midterm exam, but I have like a midterm point where I'll assign a week that says, hey, there's nothing new this week, but this is your first makeup week. So it's midterm. You can redo all previous portions that you received a poor grade on at the midterm, though those labs are locked and then eligible for a redo from that point on. So usually the midterm or the midpoint is right around the finance section thereabout. So like let's say like I send out or I put in a Moodle that says, okay, here's the first redo week. You can redo everything from the conversions lab 1 up to the finance test. And then once that week passes, and I had so many people message me in the fall that said, oh, I didn't know it was redo week. And this is like, the Monday after redo week is closed. Everybody's like, oh, I didn't know it was redo week. And I was like, no, first of all, yes, you did. Second of all, like, can you open this back up? So the answer is going to be no. Because I don't want it to be like, well, in y'all's case, I don't want it to be like May and someone still wanting to redo something we did the second week of class. So after the midterm, everything before that will lock. So whatever grade you got on it is whatever grade you got on it. And I'll make sure everybody knows when those are coming. And then the second one is the week before the final. And that'll cover everything from the midterm to the end of the year. All right, so classroom etiquette. Again, this one kind of like, the Moodle Messenger guidelines or whatever. This stuff is in here, the cheating stuff is in here for the same reason that a hairdryer says don't use this in the shower, because somebody used this in the shower. The reason why I have this stuff in here is because I've had to put up with stuff like this before, so I just try to make sure, it's in the syllabus, everybody knows. So just, be mindful of everybody around you. If someone is asking a question, don't disrupt them, or I also tell, like whenever I have my huge classes, I always tell them, you don't want your nickname to be Questions Johnson. Ask your question, then let somebody else ask theirs. Don't be the, don't monopolize everybody's time, stuff like that. But I think if it's as long as it's not like a room full of like extremely young people, it'll be fine. Moodle Messenger, this is all in Moodle. Disability Services, Tri-County complies with all provisions of the Americans with Disabilities Act and makes reasonable accommodations upon request. If you have a documented disability that may require special accommodations, please contact the Director of Enrollment Management to assist you at the beginning of the course. So this is for things like, if you have something for vision or for hearing, or some of the ones we used to have to middle school were like extended time, testing in a separate room, which all my tests are online anyway, so I won't worry about that. That's why it says reasonable accommodations. Don't come in here and say, oh, this is my emotional support snake, because I'm going to be like, well, he's going to emotionally support you outside in the hallway, because he cannot come in here, because I will kill him. That I don't mind, but I mean, it's like the lady on the airplane that took her emotional support donkey on the plane. I mean, at some point it's, yeah, don't bring your emotional support worm. Copyright policy, this is just, don't print off the textbook stuff for monetary gain, or don't be selling my tests or anything like that. The Go Figure Initiative, it's a program that we've been doing at Tri-County to try to get folks to take their math sooner rather than later. We find out that if you don't wait until your very last semester to take math, you actually do better. Because, people that wait are usually like terrified of it or stuff like that. So we've been pushing people to try to take it earlier, and it's been helping. Student rights, standards, conduct, discipline, appeal, and grievance procedure. Again, if you feel like I was wrong in telling you that you couldn't bring Skippy the support snake to class, that's where you're going to want to find out your complaint procedure. No emotional support donkeys. Somebody's going to bring one in, just be like, you mean I can't bring Roscoe in here? Nope, plenty of grass for Roscoe outside. Seriously though, if you do have something like that, you just need to make sure for one that they've got their certification, that they got their vest, and then that you've got it okayed through the Harper building. I really don't think they'll approve a snake.
Hey, I just had therapy for a living at a nursing home, so I condone animals. I'm all for loving
Yeah.
on the animals.
Just keep it within reason.
I'm just being silly.
Yeah.
I don't need to show you.
We don't need an emotional support boa constrictor.
The elderly people.
Well, I mean, from what I was told when we moved,
Not the snake, not the snake.
from what I was told when we moved up here, we get enough snakes in this building as it is.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
You've got us running now.
Yeah. That's what they told me when they moved up here, and I said, well, just
Sure, this one.
ignore the gunfire in the floor whenever you hear the snakes coming. So I think I went a little bit too fast here. So whenever you go to pull up the textbook, it will when you're using Chrome. And by the way, Moodle works best in Chrome. We found out. Here's the link for it. So when you click on it, it'll pull it up here to the download area. So when you pull up your downloads, it's going to be a massive PDF. You can see how big it is. It's 46 megabytes. That's pretty big for a file. So what I would suggest is whatever device that you're going to download it to, download it once and then save it to your desktop or something like that. That way you don't have like 4 or 5 copies of this book downloaded to your device bogging down your memory. Because you can see how many pages it's got. I mean, it's the whole thing. Now, the only drawback to this is depending on whether we open it up in a browser or open up a downloaded copy, one of them, this counter right here, will actually be the first page, and in this case, it's like the cover page. So what I do is I go over here to the contents, like the table of contents button, and I click on that so I can hop around in the different units that are over here. So like for the first part, conversions, I think that starts in part 2, so I'll just click on that. Now if I wanted to expand it, I'll click on that arrow and we'll go to numbers in the real world. Yeah, so we actually kind of start in chapter 3 of the book. This is not one of those classes where we, start at the front of the book and go to the back of the book. The way I've got this class engineered is that we use this book quite a bit at the beginning, and then towards the end of the semester, we're not really going to be using it at all. Because I've got so much stuff in here that, yeah. But, some people like having a book, so there's the book for you if you want it. I know it's digital. Not everybody likes digital, but everybody likes free. So there you go.
Does your hard copy have an ISBN number?
The did I already
You don't talk about that.
close the syllabus? Yeah.
In school long enough that I've learned ISBN number, what that means.
The ISBN number is in the syllabus, but that's probably the ISBN for the hard copy.
Yeah, I'm going to try
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah, that should be it. If that doesn't work, I'll have to update it, but that should be it. Yep. And I didn't put, yeah, and I didn't put the ISBN for the little book because you can just find it at Walmart. All right, so there's that. Again, download it, save it to your desktop. Try not to download it too many times or it'll really slow down your device. So I have the first day video from the fall in here as well. I'll get this one uploaded eventually, but you know, we'll probably have to go over a lot of this stuff again on Wednesday when the other early college folks get here. But there's that as well. So in your Moodle, the only lab that should be showing right now is Conversions Lab 1. Now if there is a place for it in the textbook, I tell you where to look. But again, what's going to be most helpful for us are these documents like this, which these are my own notes. So whenever I teach a lesson, I just walk everybody through my notes. I've got some already diagrammed out problems and some other ones that we can work up. Whenever we need to see a fresh one, I'll throw it on the whiteboard. I'll just have to switch the video recorder over there. But on Wednesday, we'll start looking at Conversions Lab 1. What we'll do anytime we start a new section, we will go all the way through the notes, front to back, as far as we need to, because some of the notes files cover a couple of lessons and some of them are specific to a lesson. But yeah, so we'll just go through this. We'll look at all examples. Or we'll have some definitions in there. I'd go ahead and apologize ahead of time for my handwriting. I always tell people my handwriting's not the best, but at least it's not as bad as my brother's. He still puts the spaces between the letters instead of the words. So, yeah. But, so on Wednesday, and by the way, just so that you know, there's other stuff in here too besides the notes. So here is a conversion chart. So the conversion chart, this would be really helpful for you to print out somewhere as well. Now, I will say this. When we start using these, on the labs, some of since the questions on the lab were generated by the textbook company, and this conversion chart was not, some of your answers are just going to be close. Not exact. They're just going to be close because this conversion chart rounds primarily, like on a lot of them, it rounds to the nearest 100. Some places it goes to 1,000. Textbook may take it to a different place or two. But I like this conversion chart because it's really concise. It's got metric here. It's got American in several places. It's got some formulas down here. So we'll hop more into that as well. But yeah, that might be a good one for you to print out somewhere. I'll try to have some printed out next time we meet up. But they'll be in black and white. They won't be as nice as this one. Let's see, what else do we have here? Yeah. So again, I mentioned that every lab will have a student copy. So the student copy it should also download up here. So when you pull it up again, you know it's going to have the questions in a certain order. But when you pull up the answer entry to key these in, they're going to be shuffled. So like say if number 1 is the baby weighs 7.8 pounds, how many ounces is that? That might be number 1 on your answer entry, or it might be number 5, or it might be number 14. So you've got to make sure that you're matching them up. Again, this is a safety measure to try to discourage people from just copying people's work, you know, things like that. This was a recorded lesson from August of last year. So if you wanted to watch that ahead of time or, you know, have it to watch after we meet on Wednesday, that's another additional resource in there for you. When I just had the 110s, the number 1 request that everybody had was, are there videos, are there videos? So that's why I just started recording them. That way I don't have to worry about trying to find them. But copying this table here, this is why we went with a digital textbook. Because last January, when I first started doing these classes, because the book is so old, a lot of people couldn't find it at all. And a lot of people said it's ordered, but it's on its way. So that's why I just put in a digital copy. That way everybody's got it from the first day. But I also posted this in there, so it's easy to find because you need it for one of the assignments as well. Okay, and then I also post, try to do it as often as I can, board examples in here so that you have another extra resource. These were all taken when we were in the other classroom, but and a lot of times, I refer to these as well to jog my own memory. So yeah, I've got a lot of stuff in each section to help everybody get through it. We've got a bunch of examples saved. Here was where we were working with the currency exchanges and things like that, because one of your labs deals with exchanging money as well. So yeah, we got a whole bunch of stuff that we'll go through in more detail on Wednesday. But I just wanted to show you the assignment is all the way down at the bottom. Where you turn it in is all the way down at the bottom. That is on purpose to make sure that you at least looked at all the other stuff. You might not have read it, but you at least looked at it to get to all that. And like I said on the syllabus, it tells you right here, this is worth 100 points to make sure that you know how much it is. One thing I did not cover, that I just now remembered, the test groups. So you don't take your test in a group. I have 4 different versions of all my tests out there. Your test group is your business. I'll assign it once I'll usually assign it once drop ad is over. And then I know what group you're in, so I'll know they've got the same test, got to make sure that, they weren't, sharing ideas or whatever. But nobody would do that. When I initially set this up, I was naive. I was like, just pick your group. Based on, Group A could be everybody born from January to March or whatever. Yeah, that worked out great.
Does a group just mean you have the same test?
Yeah, so there's groups A, B, C, and D. So whenever drop ad is done, I go in the roster, and then I'll just randomly assign it. And then that way, I'll know who's got which. So, all right. So, yeah, on Wednesday, when we come in, when the early college guys get here, we'll spend about 5 minutes or so going through all this. And they'll have to go back and watch the videos, but they'll be fine. I'll get this one uploaded later today, and we'll be off and running on Wednesday. But that's all I've got for today. Yeah. So just make sure that when you come in on Wednesday that you've got a tablet or a laptop or something that you can pull up Moodle and textbook and the documents and stuff and the notes. Yeah, a phone will work. A phone will definitely work. And we've got a laptop cart somewhere, but I think those laptops are quite a bit old. They were bought back before the pandemic, so.
Probably the one I've been using at home.
I don't know, but if it works, just make sure that you can get on the student Wi-Fi and everything, and then you'll be in good shape. Questions Johnson. That's what I'm going to write in my roll book. Questions Johnson. With a big old stamp. No, you're fine. You're fine.
So this is what I have learned in my short span of college life. I learned through similar math classes. Probably the same.
Yeah.
But then when I took medical assistance, she taught it completely different. So am I going to confuse myself if I swap back and forth between different, the conversions she did completely direct Cal nursing format.
Oh, I see
Do
what
you understand what I mean?
So
and
that,
then when I took
yeah.
pharmacy, they were trying to teach me the way that the math people taught me, and it just confused me.
I would say that one of the things about conversions is there might be more than one way to do it and still be okay. I would say whichever one makes the best sense to you, just stick with that. Because when we start conversions, I use the unit fraction. Not everybody likes it. I had to.
Is that dimensional analysis?
Pretty much. I had to start using the unit fraction because I used to teach the support classes and the developmental classes, and that was how the other math instructors, that's what they used, so I had to start using that as well. And I think a lot of the science teachers use it too.
Now, at the unit factor, is that the one where you flip it? It's like a,
No, it's like a table.
oh.
Yeah. I use sometimes I'll call it a unit fraction, sometimes I'll call it a conversion table. So you just we'll see it on Wednesday, or you'll see it if you start looking. Yeah, it's set up the same. But yeah, we go over on their own ratios and rates and things like that. And like you said, so I would best thing to do would just be on like a marker. Here's my common formula. Kind of keep those. You'll start to see.
Yeah, it was a ride from